Let's start with the prompt. Which one completes the text? That's a tough prompt because we need to understand the text well enough to be able to predict what it might say next. So let's continue. This ancient civilization formed between two large rivers in an area that's now Iraq and Syria. The extremely hot and sunny weather in that area helped crops grow very quickly, but it also made it hard to keep the crops from drying up and dying. So they used water from the rivers in their farming. That method worked so well that they could often harvest even more crops than they needed in a season. As a result, the Sumerians, I might say, became famous for their abundance of crops because they had more than they needed, or possibly for their methods of harnessing river water to irrigate their crops. So let's look at the answers. Harvested crops only on the hottest days. There's no mention of one hot day being better than another. B, found ways to shield their crops from the sun. They didn't shield their crops from the sun. Instead, they simply irrigated the crops with water really well. C, did not begin farming until after a certain year. That might make sense because they were at that year, so we'll save that for later, were able to store extra crops for later use. Well, that matches more with what we said in our own words. They had lots of crops. They had more than they needed, so they were able to store more for later. That makes a lot of sense. And so the answer here is D.